Marco Polo, named after the famed Venetian explorer, is the Tier 9 premium Italian battleship currently available for either 19,300 gold or 228,000 coal. First released in January 2021 alongside the Tech Tree line, Marco Polo differs in that her guns are bigger and also more accurate, but she does not have access to the exhaust smoke generator. Wargaming call this ship a design development of the Vittorio Veneto class battleships, created in the 1930s as a proposal for the Soviet Navy. Only correct regarding the ship's speed, main armament and tonnage. This design was never taken further, and in the end the Soviets decided not to use it. Ultimately, there are doubts that the design's key features would even have been incorporated had the plans ever made it to construction. Overall, the armor profile is very strong, but it shares a similar weakness with the Lepanto in that its turtleback can be ignored by any shell bigger than 15 inches. The citadel is also higher above the waterline, and justly more vulnerable. Though the bow and stern are standard 32mm plating, the upper belt is 70mm thick and effective against incoming high explosive or SAP shells. The superstructure is small and difficult to farm damage from, a comfortable bonus in a meta filled with HE spam. And likewise, the deck armor is a strong 55mm that can shatter most incoming shells. When angled correctly, Marco Polo can tank for days, though players will have to be aware that her flat broadside remains vulnerable. She had a standard rudder shift time and turning radius for a Tier 9 battleship, and her maneuverability is nothing to write home about, though a 32 knot top speed evens things out a bit. Let's get down to business. You didn't buy this ship to enjoy the Mediterranean weather. Marco Polo is all about her guns, 9 16-inch rifles mounted in a near-identical layout to the Vittorio Venetos. With excellent firing angles, allowing all guns to get on target at an angle of just 30 degrees off the bow, they also have a good rate of rotation and can dole out heavy punishment when the gods of RNG smile upon you. Both SAP and AP come out the tubes at almost 850 meters per second, making them some of the fastest battleship shells in the game. Unfortunately, in exactly the same fashion as the Tech Tree ships, Marco Polo's gunnery is heavily restricted by bad dispersion. Whilst this is less noticeable during normal gameplay, it will become painful if you find yourself in a sticky situation and need that critical citadel hit. That said, get close enough, and the sheer number of shells will prevail. As the only ship in the game that fires 16-inch SAP, Marco Polo can boast a very high alpha strike without needing to resort to loading AP. Targets that would usually take over-penetration damage suffer the most here, particularly lightly armoured cruisers and battleships covered in 32mm plating. Like all other Italian battleships, Marco Polo has access to the spotter plane consumable, but her base range is a very acceptable 19 km, and so there would be no disadvantage in mounting fighters instead. Her anti-air defences are nothing to write home about, but neither are they entirely useless. I played this ship with standard battleship build, but used a concealment module coupled with the commander skill to reduce my detectability to 13.2 km, which allowed me to sneak up on and disengage from enemies more effectively. Knowing which ammunition to fire at the right time is a necessary skill, though here Marco Polo catches a break, as her guns can overmatch most cruisers, including the American heavies. That isn't a reason to exclusively fire armor piercing, as SAP can be devastating in its own right, and consistent against angled enemies. High velocity guns can sometimes result in over-penetrations when shooting broadside cruisers, and it's advisable to shoot a fraction below the waterline, or wait until they try to angle against you. At brawling range against battleships, these guns are devastating. With higher penetration than even the famed railguns of the Sovietsky Soyuz, they are limited by a similar and problematic dispersion formula. Trying to snipe at long range will breed only frustration. Marco Polo performs best when the enemy is within shouting distance, though her accuracy at all ranges is better than the Tech Tree option. Compared to Lepanto, Marco Polo is stealthier, faster, and generally more agile. On paper, she is also more accurate, though this is balanced by losing a quarter of her main armament. Additionally, A higher citadel and thinner belt armor ensure that she will have to pay more careful attention to her flanks, particularly considering the lack of a smoke generator to cover her retreat. In comparison to Giuseppe Verdi, we will have to begin with the extreme similarities. Here, the least attractive point is that both ships share an identical hull and armor layout, right down to having the same amount of health. However, Verdi performs more like a traditional battleship in that her guns fire high explosive instead of SAP, with at best a low alpha strike and fire chance. Worse is to come. With a lower sigma, Verdi's dispersion will feel far less consistent, and though she boasts a smoke generator to provide opportunities to disengage, it's no good hiding from the enemy if you can't hit them where it counts. The recent Sigma buff persuaded me to purchase Marco Polo for Cole, a decision I had previously backed away from despite her release a year previously. Aside from the monetary bonuses to be gained from playing Tier 9 premiums, I enjoyed Marco Polo because of her ability to tank incoming fire and, if RNG rolled in my favour, deal stupid amounts of alpha damage. That said, her dispersion remains staunchly Italian, and so don't buy this ship if you struggle with hitting things. In conclusion, I can recommend Marco Polo as a well-balanced and enjoyable premium that provides an alternative Italian experience in World of Warships. Thank you for watching this impressions video, and until the next time, happy hunting on the high seas.